Hey BookTube, this is Greg from Coffee/Books. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a really good weekend and did a lot of reading or anything else they wanted to do. I just wanted to make a quick update because I finished reading this book during my lunch break today, which I started last night, and I wanted to share my enthusiasm for it before it maybe died down and became something else somewhere else. So I was browsing through online, my state's online ebook catalog for the public library system. And lately I've been really having trouble finding something I could really get into and really read. Maybe some of you maybe some of you can relate and you have some tips or tricks or recommendations for that. But I feel like I've been picking up books, reading a little bit, putting them back, or not, just really not into it. And I really like to feel like I'm fully immersed in a book. And before I go on, yes, I'm wearing another Golden Girls t-shirt. You can see Beyonce there and Betty White. I just have a lot of them. Anyway, so they say don't judge a book by its cover. One of my good friends from college, I think when we first met, she said something, freshman year, she said something like, I judge every book by its cover. So that kind of stuck with me. So I'm just scrolling through and I saw this with little dachshund on it. If you can see, maybe not. So this is Lily and the Octopus by Steven Rowley. And I just decided to download it, and I started reading it last night when I got into bed. Little did I know that it was so good that I stayed up way later than I should. I was reading again on my lunch break. I read the whole book. That my eyes like turned dark. You know that heavy feeling you get from reading so much, but I didn't want to stop, so that's how good it was. I knew nothing about this author. I knew nothing about the book. After I finished reading it, I looked up some stuff about him. I saw that I think the book was featured on some BuzzFeed list last year. So it was published in 2016. And it's about a 42-year-old man and his dachshund dog, Lily, who is, I think, 12 and a half years old at the start of the book. And it goes about their special relationship that they have. They're really close. Lily is like his best friend. More than even his failed relationships and maybe more than his in-person relationships. And he refers to an octopus that he sees on her head, which, as you can, after a while, you figure out he's referring to a tumor. And it's him coming to terms with recognizing this tumor, and possibly it's going to be the end of Lily's life, which would be devastating for someone whose dog is the most important person to them. So it's a very serious book, but it also has a bit of comedy. He refers to a lot of things in pop culture just in their conversations, because he has conversations with the dog and she replies back. So that kind of shows the level of relationship that they have in the writing. And it was kind of like an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes I was happy, sometimes I was sad. I was crying a little bit towards the end of the book, I'll admit it, both for good and bad reasons. But I think it was written so beautifully, in a very relatable way for anyone who's had any kind of special relationship with an animal, with a person, with nostalgia, or if you're someone who's trying to analyze how relationships are influencing your life or a current situation you're in. I thought that was very important too. So I looked up some stuff about Steven Rowley. Apparently he had a dachshund that he loved very much, and he wrote a short story about the dachshund as a way, like a couple months after his dog died, as a way to kind of like cope and just help himself. And then I think someone, whether his boyfriend or someone in his family, encouraged him to make it into a novel. I think he wrote the novel in a couple months. He submitted it to be published, and everyone rejected him. And eventually, it got picked up and was published, and it seems like it's a major success. I highly recommend it. I always wonder if it's just like me being emotionally attached to the characters or being emotionally attached to the storyline that makes me oversell it or undersell something. Sometimes if you can't relate, you don't want to recommend it, and vice versa. But it definitely made me want to read more things that he's written. And I haven't gone into detail yet on his website, which I think is stevenrowley.com. And I also added him on Instagram. Which, by the way, I'll put in the link below if anyone wants to Follow me on Instagram. I'm not like a super Instagrammy person, but I do travel a lot and post a picture here or there because there's no way I'm ready yet to edit videos and do vlogs and all that stuff. So if you want to see pictures from my life, certainly feel free to do that. So anyway, I think he's coming out with a new book either this year or maybe it just came out. I'm not sure, but yeah, great writer. I'm looking forward to what else he will write. His style is very refreshing. It has that like it has those whimsical aspects to it on top of like the serious emotional aspects, which I think a lot of us have in our own brains when we're doing things in daily life. So that was really exciting. It was finally I found something that I could really get excited for, and I read it so fast and was really into it, and it kind of maybe broke me out of my motivational funk in terms of finding a good book to read. So once again, that's Lily and the Octopus by Steven Rowley. I had it on my Kindle because, like I said, I'm not in a English speaking country, and the bookstores sometimes only have a few shelves. And I went the other night, and I just couldn't find anything I was interested in, so that's why I went my library route. And of course, you should always support your local public libraries. I can do another video on that later, in the role that library policy plays into my PhD work. If anyone wants to hear about that, maybe not. Maybe it's kind of boring. um, yeah, so I hope everyone is having a good day where they are and have a good week. And I'll see you later. Bye.